Hello everyone, this is Locke and I, and welcome back to another video on the Great Build YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at an overview of all four of the elemental mechs from Ninjago, as well as showcasing how I created a custom mech that also fits within their system. Now stay tuned to the end of the video to see how they combine together. Now, let's remove my custom mech out of the way for a second, because we can take a look at the four original mechs first that LEGO made. You can see that there's four of these mechs that were released. There's one for Lloyd, one for Cole, one for Kai, and one for Sora, one of the new ninja. And they all come with the same features. They're basically upscaled Evo mechs, which if you don't know already, I kind of like those mechs. I already did a lot of reviews on those. So leave a comment if you want to see some more reviews theming some custom Ninjago mechs that are based off of the Evo mechs next. Now, you can see that some of these mechs were done better than others. I believe that Kai's mech and Cole's mech are probably the two better mechs of the four. And Sora's mech is very skinny, which makes it look very high in agility, makes it look like it gets into tight places quicker. However, it does look like it's also missing some armor pieces from that. I did actually choose to remove two of the armor pieces from the waist for two reasons. One, needed them for my own mech, and two, they get in the way when you're posing this particular mech, so they don't necessarily make as much sense to have that. The other mech that doesn't look as good as the two is the Lloyd mech, primarily because it looks like it has like Samurai X parts mixed in with it, with the helmet shape and the dark red everywhere. But I do like the overall design of all of these mechs. I think they're all worth getting. It took me a while to find them all, since you can't really get them all at one place if you don't live near a LEGO store. But it's alright. You can still get them all eventually, and I think that they are pretty good for any collection. Now, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you some of the interesting combinations that I've come up with utilizing these mechs. So let's start by talking about what parts of these mechs you can actually remove. Based on what you've seen here, right in front of you, you can see that the arms and legs can be switched. Also, the bottom of the torso and the top of the torso can be split, which also gives them a range of motion that kind of goes around and around. You can do a full 360-degree motion, but with the right posing, you can get it to do some pretty epic-looking stances. So, because of that, those are the official versions that they've told you that you can take apart. However, with Kai and Sora's mechs, they all use ball joints on the arms, as well as Lloyd's too, but the colors don't match as well. You can actually remove the parts of the ball joints and stick them onto other parts of the ball joints, which is something I haven't seen anyone do yet, which is pretty cool. But you can also really customize the mechs any way you want. There's no limitations that they really give you with these. Now, these mechs may be cool, but I'm sure I know what you're all waiting for, and that's to see what I've designed as a custom mech that will fit within this system. So let's get right to it. Now, here's the mech that I've built for my YouTube channel. Now, this mech is customized using some of the colors from my YouTube channel, so it's very much made of a lot of dark azure parts and lime green parts and gold. And you can see already at the top I tried to use the Bionicle G2 bird-like piece, because I like making a lot of my builds themed after chickens. I raise chickens in my free time, so this is something I like to do to my builds to make it feel more like me. And I also used a lot of Bionicle G2 blades to make the swords. They have a cool feature we'll take a look at in a minute. Starting over at the legs, though, I made the feet look very bulky like Kai's mech, but made them more rounded, makes it look like the mech's wearing shoes. They're connected on the same ball joint pieces to the legs, which are tiled off completely, and the knee joints are covered up with the shield piece with a green circular tile on it to cover up the color of the copper all the way. Now connected to the bottom of the torso, which uses a bit more lime than the other mechs do, and the main torso, which has a very bulky, strong feeling to it. It also contains the gold cockpit piece from the Evo mechs, and uses what I think is a pretty neat design to make it look like there's a bird's face on the front. Now, moving on to the arms, the pieces on the shoulder joints here are what the pieces were used for the skirt on Sora's original mech, which I didn't like at that place, but they do fit well here, so I'm keeping them on this mech. I also used as much of the chrome gold coloring as much as possible, because it's really a discontinued color at this point, so found it fun to use some of it. You can see that I also used the same style, but more bulked up on the armor pieces, and the hands are pretty much the same as all the other mechs, meaning you can switch the weapons out with the other mechs. The other arm is also exactly the same. Now, moving on to the back of the mech, There's a lot of anti-studs, and I added a lot of weight to make the top of the mech more bulky, but again, it's still relatively cool. You can see that the head is actually connected on a small ball joint and small bionicle piece as well. And speaking of the inside of the mech, under the head, you can see that I've actually decided to revamp my LEGO minifigure for this review, and I used the piece coming from the gimmick set that they released for Nia to give my character a more mech pilot suit style, which I think is really cool. Additionally, you can fit people with armor pieces in this mech. I made sure to make that a feature because I had the ability to build out more to the back. So if you want to fit a minifigure with their sword-holding accessories, you can do that with this. Additionally, I did have to use the gold piece for the Evo Mech part here because they didn't release it in Lime and they didn't release it in Dark Azure, which is a little disappointing, but hey, the gold still looks pretty well and I managed to cover it up nicely. Now let's finish up this part of the mech review by showing what the mech's weapon can actually do. Now, I'm going to have to move the mech around a little bit here to get it to pose in a way that I can actually showcase the mech's weapon. So you can see here, I left an empty Technic joint piece here, and I left a Technic pin in this one. This actually will allow me to connect these two together, and if I can just connect them right close here, it creates a very big double blade piece, which if you might have to repose it afterwards with this mech because of the fact that it's a little bit big, but that's a pretty good weapon for the mech. And let's move on to some customization we can do with this. Before I get totally into the way that I have this mech combined with others, I wanted to mention that no, I didn't have to go out and buy another mech to be able to make these connections work. I just used a bunch of Technic bricks and a 3-long Technic pin, which creates a less rigid but connectable way to connect all of the torsos and all of the leg parts together still. Now, it may be looser or tighter depending on what connection you use, but this proves that you do not need that new piece to be able to make more parts to customize with that mech system. Additionally, the arms and legs can connect off the same as others. So I'm going to start with my first combination I made with this, and I'll let any ideas in the comments for ways I can connect this in the future to make maybe a short video about it. Here's the customization I'll show you in the video, and let's just take a look at what parts I used for this. So I used the main core part of my mech to prove that the mech's waist connection does work with other mechs. It is a bit more of a loose spin on this, but it still holds together rather well. You can see I used the arms and the legs and the bottom torso part from Kai's mech, but I did switch some of the flames out on the top for the green flames from Lloyd's mech to fit with my color scheme a little bit more, and used some gold blades on the elbows from Sora's mech, so it combines a lot of the mechs together. Additionally, I gave Sora's mech piece as the shield-like part for this mech, so it has like a shield to protect itself, but it also uses the double-bladed version of the sword I made for my mech. Now, this is the combination that I chose just because I thought it looked best, but as I mentioned, just leave a comment, and I might try and do some interesting combinations in the future using some other mechs from the other Ninja. Overall, I think that the mechs that LEGO released are pretty cool. While the mech I made isn't as stable, it is very detailed, and I would encourage anyone to build their own mechs based off of this system. As I mentioned, you don't need any of the special parts that come in this set. They're really mostly ornamental, and you can build your way around them. So you don't necessarily need one of LEGO's sets to do this on your own. However, I also would recommend picking up some of these other LEGO mechs. They're extremely great priced, and if you want one with good minifigures, Lloyd is the best one. If you want one that comes with an extra mech, Kai is the best one. And if you just want something for cheap for 20 bucks that comes with some pretty decent parts, you could either get Cole's mech or Sora's mech. I would recommend any of these mechs in the end, but go ahead and pick which one you like the best. Now, remember to leave a comment down below so you can see what other combinations that you might want to see that include this mech's parts, or make sure to leave a comment down below if you want to see a custom Evo Mech version that also resembles my channel. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more videos to come, and have a great day.